This is a Forex blog video for March 11th, 2016. Very volatile week. Not the best week we've had in the past, but I have fixed quite a few of our older patterns this week that had quite a bit of losses. So I fixed those. And I'm going to showcase the stats, which what I do is at the end of the day, when I add a few new patterns that didn't show up that day that should have, and also fix some of the patterns that were losers. These are the stats that I keep. So, let's say I fix 5 or 6 patterns that day. Those losses do not show up in here. Plus, some of the new patterns that I added also would not have been there that day. So that's how I do the stats. I don't keep multiple sets of stats, but you can compare these week to week. This wasn't the best week we've had. Quite a few more losses than normal. And some of them work really well in the past, and when that's the case, I tend to leave them be. So here's Friday. There were, in the stat, you can see the results on the bottom. 39 trades, 9.9 pips on average for every single trade. The losers averaged 7.3 pips, and the wins were 28. So considerably bigger wins than losses, and it looks like it was about 50-50. Previous day, the winning percentage was horrible, but there's tons of trades. You can see 395 pips normal net, and as you can see, I didn't fix many trades that day. These were all a lot of losers, 44 losers. They only averaged 7.9 pips. Very volatile day, and unfortunately, a lot of these ones that were losers that day in the past have done very well, so I left them be. The wins were considerably bigger though at 33 pips, and you can see there's 22 wins out of 66. So winning percentage wise, this was the worst day I think in 2 years at 33%. Most days are anywhere from 45 to 75%. I've never seen a day that had so many losers, and unfortunately a lot of these trades are good ones that worked well in the past, so I left them be. But it does illustrate what I've said for years when I used to do classes each day, that winning percentage really is bullshit. I mean, like there's 156 pip, 85 pip. Even if you take out those 2 super big ones on the top, you're still left with 154 pips. So, we take out the top 5 or 6 pips, and actually you have a little bit of losers if you subtract a few of those. But here's Wednesday, another less than 50% winning day, 170 pips net. There were also a lot of losers that unfortunately did well in the past. 191 pips of losers, 6.8 pips is the average, and the wins were 17 pips average. So considerably bigger wins than losses, and the wins were 362 pips total. And you subtract out the 191 pips of losses, and that's what leads to the 175 pips. This day I think was much better. 315 pips net, a lot less quantity of losers, only 22, and they averaged only 5.7 pips. I try to fix trades that have any losses more than about 8. 8 is my maximum. The wins that day averaged 17, so you can see 3 times bigger win than loss. And again, I'm not sure if I don't recall if I did the sum, 315 pips. And I believe this is Sunday, Monday. 429 pips, very good for a Sunday, Monday. You can see the percentage of losers, very small, 8 pips average, and the wins, 23 pips. So almost 3 times bigger wins than losses, and over 55-60% winning that day. So I'm just going to showcase some of the charts, and that'll be it for today. You can see in the euro dollar, there's quite a few possibilities of trades that were not found. We have a loser here. Unfortunately, we got out of this trade too soon. It would have made more money. So you have a small win here, and then a small loss. The win's bigger than the loss. Pretty much 3 pip loss here. Previous day, nice little win. Huge win, huge win. Small loss. And a lot of times in the past, probably about 6 to 8 months ago, when the market would gyrated wildly like this, a lot of our patterns triggered and caused losses. I've fixed a ton of those. Here's the Australian dollar. You can clearly see an uptrend. We like to buy pullbacks, especially when you give it enough time or enough bars and it doesn't pull back that much. Usually it's a sign it's going to go up. And even though this is a good trade right here, when it goes way outside of our containment bands and our range projection and all of our other statistical tools, we don't buy, because this trade might have worked, but if you took that same trade 10 times, it probably would fail 6 or 7 out of those 10 times. So I don't care even if it makes money. I want a pattern that's at least 50-50 overall. You have a pretty much break even here, break even here. Previous day, only one trade, it's a loser. Previous day, you can see a nice big win here, small loss, and that's it. And as you go back more than a few days, some of the statistical tools, are not as accurate, so you can't really look at multiple days back. Here's a euro yen, small loss here, but the previous trade was a huge, looks like 50 to 70 pip win, big win, loss, win, and this is what you want, 20, 30, 40 pip wins, 7 or 8 pip losses, followed by a nice 30 pip win. And if you use our tools, such as our currency indexes and currency meters, knowing which currency is strong or weak, you can cherry pick which trades. Let's say you wanted to sell the pound because the longer term trend is down. You wait for a counter trend sell, and this was probably based on our Fibonacci profit target levels, which it was, and it's a great trade. So when you draw your trend lines, Fibonacci levels on there, and you use all the other support, resistance, and trading methods out there, you'll find a lot of our patterns trade the exact same way as most professional traders. Here's a very big win, small loss. Previous day, this was the day that was nuts, small loss here. Another small loss. It was a very tough day. Bigger win than this loss, another loss. And I'll show one more currency. This one did pretty well on Friday. Nice little double top right here. It's in a longer term downtrend. And if you just were looking at the chart, you might say, oh, this looks like an uptrend. Why are you selling it? But it's not. If you look at the previous explosive down move, it's probably right in the Fibonacci, right near the 62% fib level. And it led to a huge, probably the biggest win of the day. 79 pips. Outstanding, huge win. That one trade can get rid of 8 losing trades, or even 15 or 20 losing trades if they're very tiny ones, like the 2, 3, 4, 5 pip losses. That's it for the Forex blog. I probably will be compiling a version and releasing a new one tonight. It's been about 2 weeks since I released the last one, and I fixed a ton of trades, and there are a lot of new patterns that are very strict. They may not hit that often, but when they do, they should result in 60% wins, I feel, because I do a lot more extensive back testing now than I did in the past. And then as they show up in the future, I add more rules if they need to. And it's that method has worked a lot better than my method 2 years ago. I'm still fixing some of those patterns as we speak.